What's up, people? Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for everybody for coming. Oh, I can't even talk. Beautiful Tuesday. Hello. Jeremiah, DJ 3 Lamental, DJ Carlitos, DJ Awana. How are you guys? Welcome. Mac and Cheese Guy, hello. You know, I love all you early people. You mean a lot. Start switching around my show, do the good stuff in the beginning. So very excited. I had a crazy weekend. I had 4 weddings this past weekend, and yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to unpack. You know, as always, you know, if you're new here, if you've been here before, you know, I kind of go over my weekend, and you know, I kind of look, you know, through a lens now of like doing this show. You know, like when I DJ and when I'm like just going about my day, you know, in my profession as a wedding DJ, I look through everything through the lens of this show. Like, wow, this happened. Either I learned something new or something came up where like you guys might be able to benefit from this. You know, something I should share with you guys, real life experience type shit that I think would be very beneficial. Real life nuggets. And yeah, I had 4 weddings and there was a lot of those this weekend. So let's get right into it, shall we? Let's get right into it. So here's my travels. So this is what happened. So we started out on Thursday. Went all the way up to Indian Trail Club. It's like way up in Franklin Lakes. And then afterwards we went to Connecticut and we stayed the night because we had a wedding in Connecticut. Then did the wedding in Connecticut, Fairfield, I believe. Then we drove all the way home and slept in our own beds on Friday night. Then Saturday, had a wedding right over at Renault Winery, local. So needed that. Little 30-minute break, no big deal. Then on Sunday, we drove up to Crystal Point, which we actually had, I don't know if you watched last week's show, but we had 2 weddings at Crystal Point last week, and we had another one this week. So it's 3 in 8 days, which is crazy. So if you're keeping track, it's been nuts. I DJ'd 8 weddings in the last 11 days, which is crazy. And I have 4 more this weekend. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of shit's going to happen. I learned so much, and there's a lot of things that came up too I think are super useful. So I'm basically going to get right into it with you guys. We'll start with Thursday. So this is Indian Trail Club. Very cool spot in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, way up at the tippy-tip top where there's mountains and stuff. If you guys don't know that, there's mountains in New Jersey. If you go north enough, we do have nice, it almost looks like Pennsylvania kind of, you know? It's like it's the Appalachians kind of spilt over, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not the Appalachians. Don't listen to me. But they're nice mountains, okay? It's nice up there. This was a great wedding. And something I thought of for this wedding, and then it really got me thinking. I never did this before, and I think it's a good idea. I want to share it with you guys. You could steal it or whatever if you come up with good ideas. And if you think of a good idea for like a common name or whatever, let me know. Let me explain what it is. All right. The couple's name for this wedding was Schwartz, okay? The couple's name was Schwartz. And I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Spaceballs. It's from the 80s. It's a Mel Brooks movie, right? A little before my time for sure, but like, you know, my dad was really into it and he showed me, and I think it's one of my favorite movies. I think it's hilarious, right? Well, they do the thing in there called, it's instead of whatever Star Wars is, I've never even seen Star Wars, but it's like the Schwartz. Because the groom's last name was a Schwartz, I got this soundbite, right? Ready? And may the Schwartz be with you. Right? So I had that queued up on my Serato. And my main goal that night is I wanted to use the soundbite, and I ended up using it a bunch of times. Like I would literally, and people were eating it up. It's just a funny, unique kind of thing. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess if your couple's like real uptight or some shit, you know, you might not want to do it. I don't know. I think anybody have a sense. It was funny. You know what I mean? It's just cool, you know, and especially the context of like everything, like the Schwartz is like the main part of the whole movie. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, so in between mixes, let's say like I'm about to just drop something on the one, right? So like I play a song almost to the end or I echo something out and there's like the gap, any type of gap in like a mix I'm doing, I would literally hit it. I had it on the sampler. May the Schwartz be with you! And then like hit the next beat, you know what I mean? And then at the end of the night, I ended with that. So like, well, we ended like we did the last song, you know, let's hear it one more time for the new Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz, right? And then I said that. And then after I said that, I hit it again. May the Schwartz. And that was like at the end when everyone was wasted and the whole crowd started laughing. It was like, yo, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I think little things like that, right? Like little like aspects where you don't have to do that obviously, but when you go out of your way and just think of cool little creative things like that to like add, I think it makes a big difference. I really do. It's like a more of a personal experience for everything. It shows that you're not like just like going through the motions. You're not just like it's not a job. It's not a 9 to 5. You're not clocking in, clocking out. You do the same shit every wedding. Obviously you're doing different things for every wedding and you're making things unique. And I just think that's important. Another one I thought of, I didn't do. I had a bride who her last name was Cannon, and I wanted to use the soundbite from all those little Wayne mixtapes back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember, like The Drought Is Over and all that. It was like Cannon, Cannon, Cannon. You guys remember that? Cannon, Cannon. Like, I was going to have that on lock, but like to me, I was like, damn, it's like the bride's last name and not the groom. And I don't want to, it's the, you feel like you want to like honor it's the groom's last name. Like you don't say you don't use the bride's last name to refer to that wedding. You always say like, it's the Schwartz wedding because that's the groom's last name, right? So I end up not doing it. But if you guys think of any other ones, let me know. Common last name, stuff like that. I was even thinking like if I ever have a Jones wedding, I can just do, me and Mrs. Jones, right? Maybe get like an acapella of that. I was just trying to like brainstorm and think of different ideas to kind of incorporate this. But yeah, so if you think of anything, share it in the comments and all that. But definitely, keep your ears open for this sort of thing. I think it's a great idea, I don't know if I'm the first one to ever do it, but I think it's a pretty solid idea anyway. At this wedding, too, I made a little boo-boo. So the wedding, the last name Schwartz, so it was a Jewish wedding, right? It was a Jewish wedding. Both sides, they were the whole wedding was Jewish, and for cocktail hour, they wanted like a kind of Frank Sinatra type vibe. I had a separate setup, right? I just set a little speaker up, and I had a pre-made. We all have them, right? Like I had a pre-made Frank Sinatra mix with all the hits, all the finger snapping hits, right? And the mix itself went for about like an hour and 5 minutes. The ceremony got done a little early, and so I played the mix a little early, whatever. And luckily, the speaker was right outside of like where I was set up, where me and Santi were like in the reception room getting ready to bring people in or whatever, and the mix ended, and the next mix on my little iPod that I used was a Christmas mix. So I'm hanging out with Santi, right? And we're getting ready to let people in and everything. All right, good, making our final checks. All of a sudden, I hear in the other room, it's beginning to look a lot. I'm like, it's beginning to look a lot like. I'm like, why the fuck would there be Christmas music? And then I'm putting two together. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh God, I got to change that. And then I'm like, oh, they're all Jewish. What the fuck? I'm fucking. It played for like 2 minutes, like not a long time, but like I went in there to change it, and the whole table of like, it was like older people, grandma, were just like looking at me like. I kind of tiptoed in. I just faded the whole thing out and tiptoed out. And then they started bringing everybody in. And I just acted like nothing happened. And that's how it started. Then I had to do intros like 5 minutes later, right? We're bringing up maybe 10 minutes later because we're bringing everybody in the room, so that was perfect. So I'm like, oh God. So now I'm all nervous for intros. Like, I don't want to face these people. So more of the story, okay? You make sure your mixes are long enough if you're doing that for cocktail hour. But this is a perfect transition for segue for what we did on the Friday wedding, on our wedding on Friday, because I want to talk about cocktail hour and stuff with you guys. And if I did this basically at every wedding, we wouldn't have to worry about this. So that wouldn't have happened to me anyway. So Friday, we're in Connecticut. This is here. First of all, super cool couple. This is one of my favorite weddings, just I don't know, just music-wise and just the whole vibe, man. They just wanted a completely different wedding. They didn't want anything traditional, really. They were really into just like funk and soul and disco and reggae and Afrobeat and all that shit. And I love all that shit. It's just different. And they saw the picture of me and Santi on Instagram with our tracksuits on or whatever, like our little loading gear. And he's like, listen, man, I really, really would love it if you guys wore the tracksuits to the actual wedding. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And we got the matching shoes or whatever. So we wore the highlighter kicks, the highlighter Ultra Boost we have, and then the tracksuits. And you know, I was a little nervous at first wearing tracksuit to a wedding because, you know, it was still a nice place. You know what I mean? It was a very nice place. So it's like kind of like everybody's dressed up and like we're not. So it's like I didn't want it to look tacky. But I think the main thing that we pulled it off with is, number one, we matched exactly, like same shoes. So they're like, all right, they planned this. It's not like they're just like, you know, whatever. Like we matched exact same tracksuit, exact same shirt underneath, zipped up, same shoes, everything. So we matched exactly. And it was actually a really good response. I think like a lot of people came up to us like, yo, we knew this was going to be a good wedding just because of your outfits. I was like, whoa. I was like, that's interesting. I thought everybody would judge us, but it really wasn't like that. I don't know. And I'm sure some of you guys probably would feel the same way. I don't know. Let me know if you would wear a tracksuit to a wedding. But look, the customer's always right, okay? And whatever the customer wants, I do. They're paying me, right? Well, whatever my client, you know, if they want me to wear a tracksuit, I'll wear a tracksuit. I mean, it don't matter to me, you know. What's the matter? If that's what they want, I'm like, hell yeah, bro, let's do it. And I'm glad I did. You know, I may never get to wear a tracksuit at a wedding again, but I could say I did it, and it was a great ass time. But at this wedding, right, we did something unique, and that was for a live cocktail hour mix. Something I really, I think I want to start doing. And I did it with, so here's how it came up. The groom, like I said, they wanted really, you know, the bride and groom, they wanted, you know, they had specific visions for the wedding, a lot of cool vibes they wanted. And they said for cocktail hour in particular, they're like, we really want like a bossa nova vibe. You know what I mean? Like a bossa nova kind of just like a, you know, and coincidentally, Santi mentioned, so I had a meeting with them. They said bossa nova. They gave me a couple songs. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll make a mix for you. And coincidentally, Santi brought up, like, the next day, we're like hanging out or whatever, and he's like, yo, I've been really into bossa nova, man. Check this shit out. And it, like, if you're not familiar with bossa nova, it's Brazilian jazz, essentially. And it was invented by this dude in, like, the 60s, I believe. And it was, like, it never reached super mainstream, but, like, it's super, it's underground, but it's, like, a niche, and it's, like, I don't know. Check it out. Look it up anyway. But he mentioned it to me, and I'm like, yo, what? Santi's into it. Santi just mentioned that he was like getting into it and making a, you know, like mixing around with it and stuff. I'm like, what if I had Santi DJ the whole cocktail hour live, you know? And Santi's the type of he's such a good DJ, and he's the type of person that he'll plan his ass off. Like he really planned like a really good set for this, you know, like did some research, incorporated every request, everything. And so we did it, and I surprised the groom with it. You know, we didn't charge extra or whatever. I was just like, hey, listen, you know, I'm going to do one better. I'm actually going to have Santi mix it live, you know, and he's going to create a real cool set. And the difference it made was insane. It really was cool. I love it. I wish we could do this every wedding. I'm going to try and push to do this every wedding. You know, I think it's well worth it. Now, this doesn't apply if you're a DJ in a market where, you know, everything's in the same room, you know, where cocktail hour and reception's all in the same room. You know, I feel bad for you, number one. That really sucks because, you know, the change of scenery really helps for sure. But it's not going to apply to you. But if you are in the same room as cocktail hour, if that's how it works in your market, you should be mixing cocktail hour. There's no reason. You're sitting at your, don't put it on autoplay when you're literally hanging out, eating hors d'oeuvres, just sitting at your DJ setup. Like mix it. Built, you know, there's plenty of music out there. You know, there's a lot of reasons too. And here they are. You ready for the reasons? Number one, the entertainment value. The entertainment value of live mixing, especially, you know, in my situation, you know, in our situation where like it was a separate room, someone live mixing during cocktail hour, it to me is the equivalent of someone, you know, having a live musician at a cocktail hour, playing piano or singing or playing the violin or something. There's an entertainment value. There's a live human performing a musical show. I don't know, act, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's entertainment value there. And I think it adds to that. When you just put a speaker in a corner and you just have a playlist going or a mix going in the background, most people won't even notice where it's coming from. It's just background music to them. It's the same as going on an elevator and whatever's playing on the elevator. It's the same as shopping at Walmart and whatever's playing in Walmart at the time, right? It's just background. You might notice it if it's like a, you know, song that pops up in your head, like, oh, you know, you sing along a little bit, but not, it's still background, right? But if you have a live human mixing it, night and day difference. Literally night and day difference with like the overall just, you know, just the vibe, which is the next thing I want to talk to you about, right? It creates a vibe. My goal, And it's a lot to do with this. Is another reason why pretty much the same reasons is why I mix dinner as well. My goal for every wedding, and I tell couples this, and I've said this in the past, is I want to create such a great vibe at this wedding that people get loose, people just like get laid back, and they're having such a great time. You know, they end up like having a couple extra than they planned on. They end up getting more loose than they planned on getting, you know, because it's such a great vibe. They're having such a great time, and that's when you get the person that would never dance to dance. You know, that's when you get some crazy stuff to happen because it's just such a great time. You know, we've all had times in our lives where we were having so much fun. We did things that were out of character for us or out of the ordinary for us, you know, like dancing. So this plays into that unbelievably. And this was the first time I've ever live, I mean, I wasn't, but the first time we've had, you know, a live DJ at a cocktail hour, right, from me. And so Santi's DJing it, he's crushing it, and I'm kind of like in the background, just like watching everybody, like, you know, analyzing everything to the T. And what I was noticing is the crowd slowly was getting louder, right? Slowly was like kind of like, you know, like yelling at each other, like getting more, not yelling, but you know what I mean? Like it went from just like, you know, hello, nice to meet you. Yes, I'm so-and-so, to like, yo, man, what's up with this? Yo, dude, did you see that? You know, like they're kind of like getting more excited. They were drinking more. For sure, okay? The bar was always packed. I never seen the bar empty. I never seen they had 2 bartenders for like 120 people. I never seen the bartenders not working the entire time, so I know they had extra drinks. You know, it just created, and then when they got to the ballroom, when they got to where the reception is going to be held, it was different. It was different. It was elevated. They were hype. When I went to do intros and I said, make some noise for the bride and groom and all that, they were loud. Like, it was no problem. You know how sometimes you start intros and, come on, people. You know, they're a little dead and stuff. That's because your cocktail hour is born, you know? It makes such a huge difference. And then on top of that, of course, you can gain intel from this. Now, this also depends with, what you're playing. Like for this one in particular, you know, he was just kind of playing bossa nova type vibe, and that whole, like, it was a specific thing that the couple wanted. So it's not too much intel you can grab from that because, like, Santi's not being open format and, you know, just playing whatever. But if you just have like a specific, like, hey, just keep an upbeat cocktail, or, hey, you know, mix of the classics, light traditional or whatever, you know, if it's a more broad kind of direction for cocktail hour, you can gain intel from this. So while Santi's mixing, he can see what songs are working and what songs aren't. And that helps me later on at night. Big time, you know? So I'm going to start doing this more often. And my game plan with this, to be honest with you, is, and me and Santi talked about it, you know, we're going to offer it when the situation's right. You know, when the situation's right, we're going to offer it to a couple more couples coming up, kind of as a last minute thing. You know, he said he needs about 2 weeks to prep. So, you know, I'm going to plan it 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance. Offer to a couple couples, say, hey, you know, listen, this is what we're doing. I think it'll make a big difference. You know, no extra charge, nothing. Are you cool with it? They're all going to say yes, I'm sure. And then we're going to do it a couple more times and work out the kinks. And then I want to start offering it as a thing. I want to say, listen, it's this much if you want me to kind of like do cocktail hour and just have a little setup and just like a little playlist in the background or something. But if you want Santi to mix your cocktail hour, you know, so have a live DJ for your cocktail hour, mix in and kind of really, you know, creating that perfect vibe, it'll be this much. And I think it's something, it's not going to be for everybody, but I think it's something, you know, not only we can like upsell or whatever, but like, it's not even about the money, because it's not like we're going to make $1 million off this. To me, it's just, it's more about like, I want to do it. I want to make it worth Santi's time. But mainly, I want to do it. It makes that big of a difference. It really, really does. And I'm all about stacking the cards in my favor. I want to set my weddings up to succeed. You know, I want to stack all the cards in my favor. I don't want to just like, blah, do, you know, like, I feel like a lot of DJs out there sleep on cocktail hour, sleep on dinner. You know, they just playlist, autoplay. And then they finally get up, scratch their assholes and start mixing for dancing. And then, oh, this crowd sucks. Nobody's dancing. It's like, bro, you put everybody to sleep for the first fucking 2 hours. Then now you expect them just to pop right up and fucking dance for you? Like, that's not how life works, you know? You got to stack the cards in your favor. And so I'm going to be pushing this, people. I'm going to be pushing this. But anyway, moving right along. Saturday, we're at Renault Winery. This is a different ball. They have a bunch of different ballrooms there. This is their big ballroom. I was like a mile away from the dance floor. Didn't like that too much. But it's one of those. I feel like they built, like a lot of venues build rooms. This is a brand new, right? They build these rooms, and not one thought is given to the DJ. Not one thought is like given to like where would the DJ set up here? We had a door right behind us, like a literal door. There was 3 doors. We were set up in front of a wall of doors. There's 3 doors on the wall, right? 3 double doors. And in the middle was a double set of doors right behind our facade, right behind where we're set up. And like 97 times throughout the night, someone like walked in the door, and it was like walking in on somebody in the bathroom or something. They walked in, they're like, huh, and then they turned around because they didn't realize where they're going. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, it's still a great wedding, everything. Something like this, just so you know. So where I should have took a picture of the other side. Where we were, the ceiling was a little lower right under us. And then once you got out closer to the dance floor, then it went up to the higher ceilings where like all that shit was, right? And what I should have did, and I didn't do, was set up my speakers towards the end of where the ceiling was low. Because if you set up your speakers, I set up my speakers way behind me. I'm going deaf. Yes, I get it. I set up my speakers behind me. If you set up your speakers under a short ceiling, right, and then it goes up to a higher ceiling, what happens is this, and especially with carpet, like carpet like we have here, what happens is the sound bounces back and forth on that low ceiling, and then by the time it gets up to the high ceiling, bounces back and forth even more, and then by the time it gets to the dance floor, the sound is diminished. So you have to blast your music to really feel it in the back of the dance floor. And so it was a little challenging sound-wise. But anyway, I wasn't even planning on talking to you guys about that, but I figured I'd bring it up. But this wedding had a particular challenge I wanted to talk to you guys about. Well, and it was an ethnic wedding. So this wedding was American, Spanish, and Middle Eastern. Now, some of you watching this might be like a pro at this sort of thing, okay? Everybody has their niche. Some DJs I talk to, they're like, listen, I'll DJ for any ethnicity. That's just what I do. You know what I mean? I know about all of it. Over the years, I learned, all right? Me personally, I don't know shit about shit. I really don't. I mainly stick with American weddings, and I know Spanish music pretty well, so I might be able to get by for a whole Spanish wedding, like nothing but like it would be rough for me. You know what I mean? Like I can do like a Spanish American wedding all day and crush it, but that's my limitations. That's what I know. I had this couple, and the bride was Middle Eastern. And she's like, listen, you definitely got to play some Spanish, definitely got to play some Middle Eastern music for my Middle Eastern family that's going to be there. I said, great. So tip number one, don't bullshit, okay? When we first met, and she mentioned this, I didn't go and say, oh, yeah, I got you. I know all about that. Oh, yeah, no, I got all the Middle Eastern bangers, when I didn't, okay? No, don't bullshit. Some DJs will bullshit just to get the gig. Say, oh, I got you no matter what. Oh, yeah, 6-year-olds. Yeah, no problem. I do kids' parties all the time. Whatever it is, right? You just, I got to get that deposit. Got to get that gig. Don't do that. You're setting yourself up to fail. Be honest with them. Don't give them unrealistic expectations. I told her straight up. I said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I got the Spanish all day. I got the American all day. The Middle Eastern, I know zero about. But if you send stuff to me ahead of time, I can make it work. Being honest. If she didn't book me, that's fine. Because she was looking for more than that. And honestly, she then would find a DJ who knows more about that, who would do a better job than me. Every wedding's a Super Bowl, people. They're only having this party once. I'm not going to bullshit them and tell them I know about shit I don't know about. And then it gets to the day of, and then they're disappointed. That's ridiculous. Just so I can make a couple bucks? It's ridiculous. I wouldn't, fuck that. So do not do that, okay? Was honest with her, and she was cool with it. She's like, no, just a couple songs. I'll send them to you ahead of time, and we'll be good to go. All right, cool. So she sent them ahead of time. Got them ahead of time, and I made a game plan, okay? I made a game plan. I looked at the songs they wanted for dancing, and I made a game plan. I figured out ahead of time how I want to mix them. I didn't just put them in a dance folder and leave them there. And, bust, all right, time to play a Middle Eastern song and just fade out the song I'm in and just play this. You got to get creative with it, right? You want to make it work. Why would you mix American songs together? Because it works better when you mix them, right? Same thing if you're throwing in something ethnic. So have a game plan ahead of time. I went and I listened to each of the songs. She gave me 2 songs for dancing, right? That was it. I listened to each of the songs. I set cue points. I figured out how many bars were until the vocals. I figured out kind of like where the chorus was and everything. And I figured out how to mix it. And I had a game plan, how I was getting into it, how I was getting out of it for each of the songs. One of them I even came up with a wordplay I was pretty pumped about. Like the Middle Eastern song, it did like whatever their intro thing. And then like the first part of the vocals was like that kind of like, you know how like they sing like the oh, like they kind of like do the vibrato on their voice or whatever. I'm not going to sing, but you know what I mean? It started with like a oh, like an O. I went hip hop hooray, had an acapella out of that. And then the acapella out was hey, ho. And then I mixed in the Middle Eastern song. And then I looped the ho, ho, ho. Not looped, I echoed out the ho, ho, ho. And then went into the oh, Middle Eastern song. Literal Middle Eastern wordplay. Okay? I was proud of that. Anyway, I don't know. I was proud of it. And it worked. It worked great. And then afterwards, I went and do another American song. I didn't do a whole Middle Eastern set. That's not what they wanted. They said, just sprinkle these songs in. You know? Then I went into another American song afterwards. We kept it pushing. And the family loved it. And it came out of nowhere. They weren't expecting it. They're already dancing to the hip hop array or whatever. And it's like, oh, and then you hear a banger from your country. You know what I mean? Like think about like how exciting that would be if you're somewhere strange, you've never been there before or whatever, and it just comes out. Like, you know, a little creativity, a little planning goes a long way. I said it a million times. Weddings are like 80% planning and 20% execution. You know, it's all about having a plan for all this shit. So, you know, just make a game plan ahead of time. A big part of the game plan, too, is knowing when you want them to be played, too. If you're not, like, familiar with the songs, like I wasn't, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, ask the couple to label them, too. Say, listen, you know, when you send it to me, let me know, like, you know, when you want to play, like, during dancing or if it's a dinner song, like, when you think it would work best. Because, like, let's say, like, some of the Middle Eastern songs, they were like 90 BPMs. They're kind of in between. I didn't know if they were like a dance banger or dinner. I don't know. You know, I don't know their culture. You know, so how would you know? Like, so, you know, a lot of people, and that's what a lot of people do too. They'll burn songs during dinner. You know, burn requests during dinner. Like, oh, I gotta play these songs. Let me just play them during dinner. You know, knock them out. And then, you know, you get caught with your foot in your mouth later, realizing that, you know, someone comes up to you, bro, this is a banger. Why would you play this now? You know, like playing like Friends in Low Places during dinner for all the country guys out there. You know what I mean? That would be a catastrophe, you know, that sort of thing. So have them label it. Have them let you know what to what. So I had 2 dancing songs and 1 dinner song. And I knew I put it in the right folder. I made sure I played the 1 during dinner. I made sure I played the 2 during dancing. And I was good to go. And they were happy as shit, you know? And then do research as well. Depending on the situation, right? Do your research. Try and go above and beyond. If you know, go on Facebook, right? Facebook is great for this. DJ idea sharing, that sort of thing. Ask, is there any Middle Eastern DJs out there? You got any bangers I can throw in? You know, maybe get a third song. Maybe I didn't do this for this wedding, but like maybe get a third song that you can throw in there and kind of blow their minds, right? Maybe get, maybe go to Beat Source, see if they have a cool list or something. Like, you know, just do some research and see what you can find too. And see if there's something else you can kind of throw in there that would work. You know, every situation is different, but just go the extra mile. It's well worth it. After I played those Middle Eastern songs, after I played the first Middle Eastern song, the groom came right up to me and was like, bro, like, you told me you'd work it in, but wow, that was perfect, man. Like, you're the man. Thank you for playing. You know, like, I worked in the song, because you got to understand, too, these couples are nervous that it's not going to work. They're nervous that, like, all the, like, Americans are going to flee and go to the bar, and then they're just going to be left with, like, their core group, you know, whoever's the Middle Eastern people at that wedding, and that's it, you know, and it's just going to kill their dance floor. Like, they're worried about that, you know. They want to honor their family and keep with tradition, but they also don't want to ruin the party, you know, and if you can make that work and keep the dance floor packed and play a Middle Eastern song or whatever kind of ethnicity song and just keep it moving like nothing happened, just like it's another song. I mean, that's like the major key. So trust me on that. So much to unpack. It's like 4 weddings, guys. Like, sorry. I feel like I've been talking like so much. I don't know. Just mad shit. Sunday. All right, so Sunday, back at Crystal Point Yacht Club. Love this place. Love this place. Shout out to them. Great staff, great, easy load-in, all that. Very cool spot. This wedding in particular, a lot of things came up. I want to talk to you guys about. I'm trying to think of what to talk to you about first. I honestly, that's the only thing I wasn't sure about when I was planning. I was like, what do I go with first? I mean, there's just so much stuff. We'll start with the beginning, okay? Start with the beginning. So first of all, I want to give you one large tip. I probably said it in the past, but like it's very, very important, and that's to basically always listen. Okay, always listen. So we're setting up. Santi actually pointed this out to me. I didn't even hear it. Okay, we're setting up, and a bridesmaid is walking by while we're setting up, and she's humming. Dum dum dee dum 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 da dum dum. Just minding her own business, walking by. I didn't notice. I'm setting shit up, right? I think I was like bouncing my needles or something. Santi's like, yo, you heard that? I'm like, heard what? He's like, you heard that? She humming Disturbia. I'm like, oh. So you bet your ass. You can bet your ass I played Disturbia later that night, and it worked great. Okay? This is a perfect situation, a perfect example of something that sometimes I would have missed that if Santi didn't get it. Shouts to Santi. You know what I mean? Always be listening, right? You know, think about it. If the bridesmaid's humming something, you know, if they're singing in the bridal suite, or if they're playing music in the bridal suite, if you're close enough to the bridal suite, you can hear what they're playing. Listen to what they're playing. Listen to what they're jamming to. Listen, if they're getting off the bus and you hear music, if you hear any type of music, any whatsoever that revolves around like the guest or bridal party, take note. Very, very important, because this is just intel for you later. Just intel for you later. Same thing with speeches. Digital Dave said this before. I mentioned him again. What the fuck? But, you know, same thing with speeches. You know, they give a speech and they talk about, oh, the one time we went to a Backstreet Boys concert, you know. One time, you know, oh my God, remember just driving down the road on the beach and like, you know, we just had our hair in the wind. Justin Biebs was just blaring. Oh, I miss those days, girl. You've been my friend, right? You've heard these speeches. Write that shit down. I'm literally, while they're giving that speech and they're mentioning the Justin Biebs and hair in the wind, I'm fucking looking up Justin Biebs from back in 2009. Oh, yeah, baby. I'm looking these songs up and adding it to their playlist. It's going to work later. They're literally telling you what to play. So don't sleep on this stuff. Don't zone out the speeches. Not to mention, I mean, speeches in general, you know, are kind of great. I mean, they're either super awkward. You can kind of sit there and cringe and like, oh, shit, this is crazy, right? You know, it's kind of like that. Or they're really good and funny, or they give you valuable intel. I mean, either way, they're all entertaining. Every speech is different except for how they start, right? How does every speech start? For those of you that don't know me, my name is so-and-so and I'm the best man. It's like, bitch, I just fucking introduced you, bro. I just introduced. Are you stupid? Like, can you just not read that one line? Anyway, so listen to the speeches. And then artist paraphernalia. I don't even know if that's the right word. I mean, I guess, you know, paraphernalia, merch. I don't know, but I've seen like groomsmen walk in and they'd have like a Kiss backpack. You know, I've packed up my ceremony stuff and, you know, walking it back out to my truck just to put it direct in my truck. And I'm walking through the parking lot and I see like Deadhead stickers on cars, or I'll see like, you know what I mean? Like, look for anything to do with something you can play. You know what I mean? Like paraphernalia, artist, merch, stickers, bags, shirts, whatever. I don't know the right word for it, but look for this sort of thing, because this will also give you valuable intel. There's so many times where I've seen something like from a band, a sticker or a bag or a shirt or something that had to do with a guest or a member of the bridal party, and there was no song on their list that had to do with that band. And I'm like, wow, that's something I didn't know, you know? And you play it later, you play the best song from that band or whatever. And, you know, even if you're in and out or something, you still incorporated that and you know you made at least one person happy, you know? But chances are they kind of usually like the same kind of music. So this is just all valuable intel. Keep your eyes and ears open, people. Always, always, always. So, like I said, there's like so much shit to unpack at this wedding. All right, so the next thing I'll talk about. All right, so we're at this wedding, right? I'm DJing it. They had a couple requests, and basically they wanted a good mix, right? They had a good mix of people. There's about 150 people there, and you know, they wanted a good mix. They also loved like the EDM side. They had a couple EDM requests. But they had some older requests. They had some hip hop requests, right? So I'm bouncing around, right? I'm just doing my thing like regular. And I knew they liked EDM, so Jersey's different, right? You play EDM at Jersey, and it's popular here. It still is. Even the older stuff that you guys probably never play anymore, it's still popular here. We can still drop bombs and stuff here, depending on the crowd. Not every crowd likes it, but if they have certain EDM requests and stuff, you can get away with that sort of thing. So I was just gonna go in and out. I don't usually do a lot of EDM in a row. I like to, when I'm mixing, I basically like to ride a wave of BPMs. I like to go through 128 for about 10 minutes and then go through 70, 75, 80, up to 90, 95, 100, then up to 115, then back up to 128. I ride the wave and go up. I think if you stay in the same BPM the entire time, your sets can get boring. They really are. If you're doing the same two-step, right, for an hour straight, the same BPM, the same beat, the same tempo two-step for, a long period of time, I don't care how good the music is, eventually you're going to be like, time to get a drink. It just gets redundant. But if you change the two-step up, you change the beats up, you change the kind of music you're playing, your open format, and you ride the BPM wave, you're going to retain your dance floor a lot better. I think it's a fact. I don't know. I didn't read it in a book or anything. It's just from my personal experience. If you disagree, go fuck yourself. I think I'm right on this one. Anyway, so what happened was I'm riding the wave, everything, and then it was about an hour left or so, like 45 minutes left or so, and the groom comes up, and he's like, yo, bro, you need to throw down some beats. Melt the faces. I'm like, all right, you want to melt? Right, and then I went into some shit, and then I got out of it, and I kept pushing, right? I went for 10 minutes, then he came back again. Bro, you got to get back into those beats, man. I'm like, oh, this guy wants some fucking shit, right? This guy wants some fucking shit. So I'm like, all right. So I went off for the rest of the night. I did straight, I think probably 30 minutes straight of just EDM type stuff the rest of the night. And number one, I got to say, detailed crates are everything. I wasn't planning on doing that at that wedding. That wasn't in my game plan. But because I have such detailed crates, because I have all this kind of already set up, I can just go to my EDM. I have sing-alongs, drops, everything just laid out for me. It makes it a lot easier to do something like that on the fly. I'm not sitting there with Serato face bugging, fuck, what do I play, right? And, so highly recommend, of course, have your detailed crates set up. Set yourself up for every possible situation. My crate links are in the description and all that shit if you need, inspiration, but just set yourself up. Just set yourself up, right? But I wanted to share with you guys what I played. I shared this, basically, I shared what I played last week, and you guys kind of liked it, so I figured I think this would be interesting for my EDM set and kind of how to play EDM. Especially if you're not from Jersey, it's not going to be often for, a regular, someone who's not in this area. But when it happens, you're going to need to know how to play EDM for a crowd. My method anyway. So this is what I did, right? This is the beginning of my, when he came up. It was right, so it was 9:30 on the dot if you look at the timestamp, right? So he's like, yo, get into the beats. So I hopped up, I jumped up 115, right, and got up to this girl, right? This girl is by Kungs. If just Google the songs, you'll see what I mean, right? So that doesn't. So I went into that. It was 123-ish. It was a perfect intro to go into that sort of thing, right? They're bouncing, whatever. I played just a drop of that, so you can see I played 30 seconds of that song. Then I went to Miami to Ibiza, right, which is a little bit of a harder drop, right? Same key, everything, right? Now we're in a hard drop. We're bouncing. The thing with dropping hard drops, okay, I'm talking womp, 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 like Jaws or Valentino Khan or hard drops, right? Quote unquote fist pumping drops. You don't want to do too many in a row because they get redundant and it gets to be too much, right? You have to ride a wave with them. So you want to mix them in with regular songs. So you see I went from Miami to Ibiza into I Love It, which is a regular song with a chorus, right? Played that for 2 minutes or whatever, minute and a half. Came Here for Love, okay, which is another sing-along EDM song, but also has a little drop to it, right? Then I went into Don't Stop. So Don't Stop the Panic is a Don't Stop Believin' redrum, basically, that just has Fat Man Scoop, hands in the air, in the beginning. That's all. So that's all that is. It's a hype edit I kind of use if I'm not using the original Don't Stop Believin'. Then time to go into another drop. So then I played The Calling. which is a famous drop here, a very popular drop here. It's a thing where in Jersey they get all the napkins from the bar and they throw napkins everywhere. Venue loves this, right? Then from the calling, because that was like an epic kind of drop where they're like bugging, and I played the whole song. I played that for like 2.5 minutes or so. Then I went into Starships, another regular song, sing along, but still has a drop. Okay, so I'm riding the wave back into like a regular song with words. Then from Starships into Tongue, which is a drop. From Tongue, I went into Epic, another drop, hard drop, right? They're fucking fist bumping their shits off or whatever. Then, now since that's so hard, I go back up to something with words, Pursuit of Happiness. Accidentally played the unedited version here. I got the end, coming back, fuck that. I'm like, oh shit, while I was playing it. Anyway, they didn't care. Then from that, I went into Pond de Floor, a drop. Then Get Up, Rattle, a drop. Turbulence, a drop, right? So now I'm heavy in the drop again. Deep drop on that. Like, it's not deep as in like nobody knows it. Deep, like hard drop, really hard. Turbulence is weird. You probably heard it at like a football game somewhere, right? Then, since I was so hard there, I went to Heads Will Roll because that's kind of like a more dun 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 dun, right? More chill, right? Heads will roll, something you can sing along and just off with your head, right? So still in the same thing. Then I went into Peanut Butter Jelly, a sing-along by Galantis. Great song. Galantis is a great band if you never heard of them. I don't know if they're a band or EDM. They're EDM artists, but yeah. Great song. Sing-along, right? Still with like a little drop, but like not that hard. So I brought it back down again, right? Ghosts and Stuff because I wanted to hear it. I just really liked that song. They danced to it, but they didn't really like it. I think it was too old for them. But Ghosts and Stuff is like my shit. I don't know. I'm showing my age, but like that was like, when I was like 19, oh, that shit was so hard. So I played that for me. Anyway, got out of that pretty quick. Then I played Sweet Nothing, a sing-along. And then I went from Sweet Dreams, that's the 80s Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics, into the Sweet Dreams, which has a drop. It's like an EDM song. I did that for just the wordplay aspect, and I knew just the Sweet Dreams would break things up, and I knew they would bop to that. But I played only the chorus. So again, if you look at the timestamps, I literally played Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics for 15 seconds. 17 seconds if you look at timestamp, right? Am I tripping? Yeah. 17 seconds. Just enough, just a taste, and then we gone. You got to move fast, people, in certain situations like this, right? Then after the other Sweet Dreams drop, I went into Give Me Everything, right? And I said, all right, now we're going to end it. And what I did was I wanted to end it, or I took a risk because I talked about this, with encores and stuff at one of my shows a couple weeks ago. I took a risk and I ended it a little early because I figured if they do the one more song thing, I can like do a crazy like face melting blah, like just hit him with all the fire at once, and then like what an ending that would be, like what an encore that would be, and the groom would be happy as shit because that's what he wanted, So I did the Give Me Everything Tonight by Pitbull, which I highly recommend. You should be playing every wedding. I think it would work anywhere. It always bops no matter what. And then their last song was Levels. That's what they wanted to end at. So we ended with Levels. And then I literally had it planned. Tsunami into Animals into Bad. And all I did was I cued each. I have these cues already set. They're all drops. Tsunami, Animals, and Bad are all drops. And I had them cued basically 4 bars before the drop hit for each one of them. And I was just sitting there praying, please, someone ask for one more song, right? So we ended on Levels, which is hype. And it was funny. I said, let's hear it for the new Mr. and Mrs. Right. And then I give them a round of applause and all that. And then it was like 30 seconds, like not like they were cheering and everything, but nothing. And then finally, thank the Lord. I feel like DJ gods helped me out in this situation. Like the ghost of AM came down and like possessed this dude because there was just one drunk dude like off the side who was cheering. And then he just started, one more song, like late. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then once he started, the whole crowd started, and like I couldn't even wait, and I hit Tsunami, bum 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 into Animals into Bad, and I did like a 3-song, however long that took. It brought me right to 10, a little after 10 o'clock if you look at the timestamp. So I basically, because you can see I played Turbulence into. I don't know why. I definitely didn't play Tsunami that long, though. I only did the drop, so that's kind of weird that timestamp is there. But regardless, I had those 3 ready, melted their faces off at the end, and then that was it. And the groom and the bride and groom were happy as shit. Very, very happy. So I just want to share that with you guys, just kind of like how I play EDM and stuff. Maybe it'll be useful to one of you guys. it's all about mixing in general is just about riding waves, you know, and you got to be conscious of that. You know, a lot of people they want EDM, I can't wait, and then you queue up all your favorite drops and you just go drop after drop after drop after drop, or bootleg after bootleg after bootleg. You don't know what a bootleg is. Essentially, it's a regular song that goes into a drop, regular song that goes into a drop. Like, you could do that a couple times in a row, but to me, you got to have other 128 tracks to go in between. You know, earlier on when I was doing an EDM set, I went from like the EDM, like hard shit, and to bring it down to ride the wave, I went into Ain't No Mountain High Enough at one point. I got like a little intro edit. Shout out to Nick Bike. Used his intro edit and went into it's basically the original and Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And, you know, it's at first it's kind of like a drop in like energy, and everybody's like, what? And they're like, oh, ain't no, and they just start singing along. And look at that. And now you bring a little parents out. Now you're like, you know, everyone's singing along, and it's just you're not giving everybody a headache. You know, you want to ride the wave. It's very, very, very important. Break things up and organize your crates accordingly. Like, my EDM crates are organized like EDM sing-alongs, EDM drops, right? That's so I can break things up, you know? It's a sing-along. Some sing-alongs have little baby drops, but nothing crazy. But like that way I can, you know, play a drop or two and then go EDM sing-along or two and then ride the wave that way. You know, it makes it easier for you, and it's the most effective way to mix, especially when you're melting faces, especially when you're dropping club-type like face melting edits at a wedding where you have grandma and grandpa and like all this mixed crowd. You know, a lot of people might even be intimidated to do that sort of thing. You just got to do it the right way. Ride the wave, people. Ride the wave. So that's the second thing from that wedding. There's a lot. All right. Well, there's the third and last thing. So we get done the wedding. It was a great time, right? I did the last you know, the last drop or whatever, the encore or whatever. Everything went great, right? Thank you. We're packing up, and then the bride and groom come up to me and they're like, oh my God, everything was great. Thank you so much, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the bride was like, yo, like I was like, thank you so much. Everything was awesome. I've been watching your stories, and I know like this is your 4th wedding this weekend, and like you couldn't even tell. Oh, I'm just so happy, blah, 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 right? Thank you. All right, have a great night. Why did she say that? Okay. It made me think. Maybe I overanalyze shit, but I do it for a reason. Why did she say that? Why would the bride say, listen, I was watching your stories, and I know this was your 4th wedding this weekend, but I couldn't even tell it was your 4th wedding. You crushed it. The energy. Great. She said that because she was watching my stories. She was watching me DJ a wedding Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and obviously thinking in her head like, holy fuck, by the time Nick gets to my Sunday wedding, he's going to be pooped. I hope he's good. I'm getting the washed up guy, you know? I'm not getting the fresh Thursday night guy. I'm getting the washed up 4th wedding in a row guy. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this. This brings up a good point because I've been meaning to talk to you guys about IG stories in general, right? So let's talk about IG stories. I'm going to give you some tips for IG stories. Like my graphic? I'm proud of this one. I'm pretty proud of this one. So here's some tips for this. I'm just going off the top of my head. This is just off the whim here, but number one, to the point where where the bride said that, right? It's a perfect example to know that your couples are watching your story. You never know who's watching, but you know, if you do, if you promote your Instagram, you know, in your emails and stuff, and you know, your couples will follow you on Instagram regardless. They'll find you. You're their wedding DJ, right? They're watching your stories. They're always watching. So you always have to think about, you know, perception and what they're thinking about what you're doing. I made it a point. Now, I always think about this in the back of my head. So like, I made it a point to never, you know, throughout this whole weekend, never complain on my stories, for example, saying that, one more wedding and I'm all done. It was never that. I was like, all right, wedding 4, baby, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always tried to stay energetic in my stories. I always try and stay like excited and everything else. Not that I'm faking it, because I really am like excited, but if I was tired, I'm not going to like talk about it. Okay. If I was like, you know, like just like, oh, can't wait for this weekend to be over. If that's how you're feeling, you don't want to talk about that in your stories. You never know who's watching, because now, you know, your couple's going to see that and be worried. I mean, I didn't do that and my couple was still worried just for the simple fact that I had 4 weddings in a row. I got 4 weddings this weekend. You know, I'm going to be all over my story, but like, I'm not gonna be, there's not gonna be no negativity there. Okay. So always think about the perception that you're putting out there, but don't overthink it where like you're being a robot and you're just like so worried about like what you're saying or what you're doing. Be yourself, but like just think about, what your couples are thinking and that sort of thing. Don't complain about doing your job or anything like that. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about when it comes to IG stories is just like what a big opportunity they are for all of us and like to use them correctly. And I see so many DJs getting this wrong, and I wanted to address it, and hopefully this helps somebody. You could take my advice or not. I don't give a shit, but trust me, okay? IG stories get on average 2 to 4 times the engagement as like an Instagram post would get, okay? All day. Doesn't matter how big your page is or whatever, all day. If you do it correctly, you will get 2 to 4 times the engagement. So if you post a picture and you get an average of 50 likes, you should have about 100 people at least watching your Instagram stories, okay? They do it because of the quick form, right? They say it's because of the quick form. You click on stories, you just keep swiping, tap, tap, tap. You can just go through a bunch of stories. It's just something to do. It's like not a nervous click, not you know what I mean? Not a kink, but what's a word? It's just something, if you're bored or you're waiting in line to buy something, you go on the stories and you can swipe through, you know what I mean? It's just easy to consume rather than like going through a post and, double clicking to like it and all that. Views are easier to come by on stories. So it's a huge opportunity because the Instagram stories on Instagram is the number one thing. Like you get the most engagement on that than anything else. Like the engagement is through the roof on stories. So you have to utilize them right. And to me, for Instagram stories, the best way to utilize them is just to be real and to give like candid, like real, like footage of like happening there. And what I mean by that, a lot of DJs take video or take pictures and then a day later post the video and pictures on their story. So I guess it's like not good enough to be a regular post, a mainstay post on their Instagram. So they just put it on their story. Oh, here's a recap of my wedding, or here's some dance floor footage from my wedding. And it's like not even full. You see how I'm full screen here? It's not. It's just cut off like this. It's just like a video that's cut off like this, essentially, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody's going to like that. Some people will watch whatever. You'll get some engagement, but like it's so obviously like posted after the fact. The cool thing about stories is it's in the moment. It's what's happening right now. You look, it's like you look at a story, it was posted 34 minutes ago. You could think that, oh, wow, this just happened 34 minutes ago. Like that's a big aspect of Instagram stories and why people like them, So utilize them in the right way. Don't repurpose content on them. Like I highly recommend if you're going to post photos, videos, anything on your Instagram story, other than like a swipe up advertisement that I would do for you to watch my show or something like that, use the actual camera in Instagram stories, the actual camera. Okay, live right there, take it. If you swipe out, you have the new iPhone, it'll do the wide angle view. That's what I do with all my stuff. And just try and give people a perspective of like what your day's like. We have cool jobs. Like I get it. We do it every day. And like, a lot of us do a lot of weddings and, it can get like, it's just a job, we're just so used to so many weddings, but to a regular person, it's pretty crazy what we do. We get to see a lot of cool shit, So I've been starting to do like cocktail hour. I don't know if you've seen, if you follow me on Instagram, it's at DJ Nick Spinelli if you don't follow me, but I started doing like ceremony vibes, cocktail hour vibes, reception vibes, and I would do the wide angle lens because the wide angle lens on my phone, the wide angle gives you more of a point of view. It's almost like you're kind of seeing what I see, right? Because it's like you're getting a wider view of like, the peripheral or whatever. And then I would go through and just show my ceremony, what the ceremony looks like if it's cool, the cocktail hour, what that looks like if it's cool, the reception and what that looks like if it's cool. And not only will other DJs, like that or whatever, but regular people like that. Couples will like that. They're giving your parents, your aunts and uncles will like that. Your cousins will like that. If they're getting married, they're looking at venues. Everyone's going to like that because it's interesting. It's like, wow, look at that place he's working at. That looks kind of cool. Or, oh, that's ugly carpet. Or, you know what I mean? They can look and make opinions on it. And it's like you're giving them a glimpse into your world. So I started doing that like recently and have like a lot of success with it. And then like just show them, let people know what's up. Hey, listen, I'm here. I'm excited. We're about to do this or whatever. We're stopping here, or just, just give them a point, your point of view and what's going on and the behind the scenes and load in and load out and behind your facade and setting this up or, the drive there or whatever. Just be positive. Don't be negative in any way, but give them that behind the scenes. It's going to, like, your engagement will go through the roof. Trust me. I get about 10% engagement on my stories right now. And I'm not like bragging or whatever, but like, it's crazy. It's a lot of people. I get a lot of people that watch my stories. 10% of my following on Instagram watches my stories on average. And it opens up a lot of things, I think. I get a lot of messages and stuff, and a lot of, it just, people follow you. And then when you go to do somebody's wedding, like most of my couples, when I go to DJ their wedding and, we get there, it's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I feel like I know you. I've been following all your stories on Instagram, following everything, and I can't wait for you to do this at my wedding. I can't wait to experience this in real life. I've been following this for months and years and everything else, It really, 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 really makes a huge difference in so many ways. You will find, if you're consistent with your stories and you use them the right way, you're not repurposing bullshit content, it will pay you dividends in a million different ways. You'll get higher engagement on your posts. When you post things on Instagram, you'll get more followers because certain things, people will share your story. It's easily shared, so you can share it from Instagram to Instagram, and then they can, and then they'll look at your story and be like, wow, this guy's pretty cool. And then they follow you and you gain followers from it. You can book weddings this way because, you tag the stories in the right way. If I'm at like a certain venue, I'll tag the venue will share it. And then everybody who's looking at that venue, possibly booking the venue, or maybe just booked the venue and doesn't have a DJ yet, they'll click the story, see how, wow, I packed the dance floor at their very venue, right? Wow, that's my venue. The dance floor's packed. This DJ packed the dance floor at my venue. This is perfect. I need him. He's already done it at this exact venue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways to gain business. And then just the whole overall, I love how, when couples follow you on Instagram and you stay consistent and they follow you all the way along, they get to know you, And so it's just such a better experience working with them. Like, they know what to expect. They know, and that's where being real comes in too. You want to be real. You want to be your true, authentic self. I curse in my stories. I had a joint in my ear in my story the other day. I actually forgot it was there, and after I posted, I was like, oh shit, I left a joint in my ear. Because I was bugging. Me and Santi got to a hotel in Connecticut, and it's like this workout hotel, and it's got like bands and all these workouts, and it had a dry erase board in it, and it was one of those really motivating hotels. So I was all excited about it. I was posting about that or whatever. Just I thought it was cool, and we rolled a joint about to smoke later that night. It was like late at night after the wedding, and I had it in my ear, and I left it. But I left it. You know what? I smoke weed. Whatever. Okay, it's legal in Jersey. I'm not hurting nobody, okay? I got my life together, all right? I can smoke pot, just be yourself. And at the end of the day, if a couple, saw my story and said, oh my God, he curses, I don't like that, or oh my God, he had a joint in his ear, I don't like that, and doesn't book me, or doesn't, for some crazy reason, doesn't want to do my wedding, or doesn't want me to be their DJ anymore, which like wouldn't happen because, obviously they look at my stuff before they book me, then they're probably not the right fit for me. They're probably not the right couple for me, and I'm not the right DJ for them. So it works out for the best anyway. You get what you put out there. So that's where authenticity comes in. I've said this so many times. I will continue to say it. I don't give a shit. Trust me on this. Just be authentic with it and use it correctly. The IG stories will seriously help all you guys out. It's been helping me, and follow a bunch of other DJs too for inspiration. See what they're doing, see different things. I get ideas from everybody. I'm always looking for different ideas, different things to post on the story or different, because what I found with IG stories too is just like, it's tough if you don't want to do the same exact thing every weekend, right? Here I am. Here's my dance floor pic. See the proof that it's packed pic. Everyone gets that, like the proof. Look, see, I packed the dance floor. See, you can't say I didn't. That sort of thing. Try and get creative with it. Just look for nuance. Look for things that unique that happen. Unique decorations, unique setups, unique venues, unique situations that happen. Like I put on my story, this one dude came up and sang America the Beautiful at my wedding, a cappella, a couple weeks ago. Put that shit on my story with an American flag, let's go, greatest country on earth, that sort of thing. Just look for unique situations like that, and try and, when you're posting stories, try and think of it from like the people who are watching it, point of view. Like what would be entertaining and valuable. Sometimes I'll post a whole story, I'll go all night, and then I'll go back through it at the end of the night and look at all my stories and be like, and I might delete one or two just because like it's just a little too much dancing. It's just like, all right, we get it, they were dancing, and I just save the best clips and keep it more concise, Like I really think all this stuff out. It pays dividends if you do it. Trust me. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about IG. Anyway, sorry. went a whole fucking IG rant about this. Really pumped about this graphic though. Again, like, huh? All right. Last thing I'm going over here. I'm going over people. Sorry. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is opening your dance floor cold. Brrr. Cold, people. Cold. What I mean by that is opening a dance floor with a dance song, not a slow song, not a line dance, not a gimmick, nothing. Just saying, hey, the dance floor is now open and playing a dance song, okay? That's what I mean by opening your dance floor cold. Do you guys do that? Do you guys do that? I never used to. Only till I did it every once in a while last couple years, but I will admit, I used to always, and then, up until last like 2-3 years, I think 3 years ago, I started doing this like heavy. I would rely on a slow dance, okay? And I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, right? So you're about to open up the dance floor. You pick out a good slow dance, right? Maybe At Last, Unchained Melody, Can't Help Falling in Love, Thinking Out Loud, Perfect, right? Right? We all use the same ones, right? Yep. You're nodding your head right now. I know you are. You pick the perfect slow dance, you play it. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like pretty much everybody's done dinner. So at this time, we'd like to officially open up the dance floor for all of our romantic couples. If you came here with someone special, bring them out to the dance floor at this time. The dance floor is now open. Something to that effect, right? You MC it. You play the slow song, people trickle out. Hopefully by the end of the slow song, you got a good amount of people. You hit them with a banger and you keep it moving. Right? I posted, I did a whole video on like different ways to pack your dance floor, and someone actually commented it. He was like, "Nah, man, no, slow dance and then hit him with a banger. Best way ever. Never deviate, da-da-da." And it made me think about this, and I get it. I did the slow dance thing for a long time because it's easier on the ego. The hardest part about opening up a dance floor cold, just literally saying, all right, looks like pretty much the same, introduction. Looks like pretty much everybody's done dinner, so we're about to get this party started. The dance floor is now officially open, or whatever you say, right? And then you hit a dance song. The hardest part about that is the hit to your ego, because when you open it up, there's nobody on the dance floor. And for the first minute of the song, you start getting people trickling out, but like a minute's a long time, and you don't got a packed dance floor yet. You have to wait a solid 2-3 minutes before there's some people there. Sometimes, listen, if you got a great crowd, they'll swarm it, and it's no problem. But like an average crowd, 2-3 minutes, you'll have some people there, and it might take you a couple songs to really pack it. It might take you like 2-3 songs. You got to like play the right shit and mix it right, and then people will slowly, come on, and then you pack it that way. So you have to deal with the quote unquote like ego hit, like embarrassing, where you have your lights going, it's you said the dance floor's open, you're dancing them, you're trying to make people dance, and the dance floor is not packed at that moment, and it's a tough thing to kind of get over, but trust me when I tell you this, you got to just suck it up and do it. I think it's a great thing. It works out for the better. You're not like tricking people into it. And you don't want to do a slow song every single time. More and more couples are saying, how many slow songs are you going to play? You're not going to play too many, right? Like one, maybe. Like I don't really want too many slow songs, Like Santi told me he never even slow danced at his wedding. Or his wedding, at his prom. He didn't even slow dance at his prom. They had no slow dances. Like I don't know if slow dances are going away, but they're definitely more for older people. And you definitely just at least want to have the balls and at least want to do this once a wedding where you open it up cold, at least once. Because it gets redundant. If you open up the dance floor for a slow song, then stop for cake, then open up the dance floor for a slow song, then play another slow song in between your dance set to break things up later. It's like 3 slow songs. It's like, we get it, guy. Okay, you're playing a slow song, and then all right, let's go. And then you hit a banger afterwards. Opening it up cold, gives you a different way to do things, and I don't want to say it's better, but it's different. It's just not a lot of people do that. So many people rely on the same shit, so it just sets you apart, you know. And to give you some tips with opening up cold, right? You got to have faith, and you gotta what you call it. I like to use songs that have memorable intros, that have you know, cool intros, where longer intros sometimes, you know, like, all right, Run Around Sue. Here's my story. It's sad but true, right? You ever listen to the beginning of Run Around Sue before the drums hit, right? You play it from that part. So you still have 45 seconds for people to kind of trickle out there while that intro's going, okay? Same thing with Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, the dum dum dum, and he's like talking, right? 24K Magic has a great intro. I learned that from Dave, Digital Dave. Jump Around with the din, the horns, right? These are 4 I thought off the top of my head. There's a bunch of other ones. Hot in Here's one, you know, just, you know, memorable intros, you know, where they're longer too, where people hear it and it's like, all right, so you're not like just jumping right into it, and people can kind of like make their way out and then like kind of like groove and like maybe even be on the dance floor and anticipate the beat hitting. You know, I think it works a lot better when you do it that way. I remember when I started doing this more often, I worked with this guy named Chris Devine. Follow him. I think his name's, I think it's at Chris Devine or at DJ Chris Devine on Instagram. He's a great DJ, and he does a lot of, he does some weddings, and he does a lot of clubs too, mainly like a lot of clubs in my area. And we teamed up. I just did production for his wedding one time. Me and Santi were off, and we did the production on his wedding. And he did not play one single slow song. Every time he opened up the dance floor, his MC went out there and was just like, all right, dance floor's open. And they just started dropping bangs. And I was like, and when he first did it, I was like, oh, God, oh, man. But it worked. And I was like, okay. And then he did it again the next time. I was like, oh, God, but it worked. And he did it again the next time. And it worked. And it's just like a little awkward in the beginning. But once you get over that, you're really building a dance floor. You know what I mean? Like it does work out. And I just think, you know, I'm not telling you guys to do this because it's like the best way ever to do it, okay? The easiest way, obviously, is to play a slow dance. The even easier way, obviously, is to play a line dance if they'll do it and whatever, you know, or a gimmick or the napkin game or any. I know about all those tricks. The group photo, right? You guys do the group photo. I'm sure someone commented that. What about the group photo? You get the photographer, get everybody on the dance floor for a group photo, and then hit a dance song, right? That's a good one. I don't do that every wedding. You know, it's also a little gimmicky for me, but like it's cool if the couple want, you know, I don't know. It's an option, right? So you got all these options, but the main reason why I'm recommending you guys start doing this and at least doing it once a wedding and just getting over the fear of it and making this work is because I do think that slow songs are going out. I think slow songs are going to be requested less and less, and it's going to be it's getting to the point where more and more couples aren't going to want them at all, or maybe just one. And you're not just going to open up your dance floor once. You know, you're going to have to open up your dance floor more than once. If you have any type of formalities, if you want to break things up in any way, shape, or form, you know, you're going to have to open up your dance floor more than once. You're going to have to tell everybody to get on the dance floor more than once. So you need to have this in your bag. You need to know how to do this. You need to have the balls to do it so you're prepared for these situations. Trust me. And if it hasn't reached your market, if you're in a market, I always get a comment, oh, Nick, I'm from Tennessee and we play nine slow songs a night. We play 2 back-to-back 4 times and then 1 at the end, and then I play one while they're walking out and I play one while, you know, all right, I get it. Okay, it still works for you, but trust me, eventually it's going to catch up. Everything catches up. Everything catches up, and you're going to be playing less and less, and you're going to need other options to open up a floor. And, you know, I think this is a great one. It really does. It works. It really does work, okay? Especially if you stack the cards in your favor. Bringing it back to cocktail hour, bringing it back to dinner that we talked about earlier, mixing live, programming, you know, reading the crowd during dinner and cocktail hour and building that awesome vibe. When you ask them to dance, they're going to be ready to dance, you know? I mean, another aspect of it too, I realized there was a couple times in the last year where I said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. We're going to officially open up our dance floor. They literally cheered when I said, open up the dance floor. And then right after open up the dance floor, I say to a slow song, and then I play a slow song for all romantic couples. And it's literally like, woo! I literally have had that happen multiple times to me. And I was like kind of embarrassed. I was like, damn, why am I playing a slow song? You know what I mean? So then they just sat in the outskirts. Maybe they pity slow dance. Maybe they just did a slow dance because, all right, you know, they're with a date. Anybody who's single at the wedding's not going to slow dance, right? Unless somebody's shooting their shot. And then they just waited in the shadows until I played a fast song, and then they came out to the fast song. Like, you know what I mean? So, there's been so many times where I played slow songs this year, and not a lot of people came out. Only 5, 6, 7 couples, and I'm like, all right, well, we got to build this up. And once I played a dance song, then people came out, I'm seeing the signs. I'm just seeing the signs. So if you've never done this, or if you don't do this, every single wedding, do it, okay? Do it with the right song, have the game plan, have the next couple songs you want to mix ready as well. So you know what you want to do. And when you're mixing as well, another tip I'll give you, I'm like, that's a lot to talk to you guys about. I feel bad. Earfuls. Like, there'll be highlights, okay? So you can consume it later, or if you got shit to do. Another thing is when you're mixing, you open up a dance floor cold and you're mixing. So you play the first song. Let's say you start out with Run Around Sue, okay? Look at the dance floor. Who's out there? Okay. Is it more older people out there? More younger people? Good mix? Like, where are you at? If it's more older people, then like I'm going to shoot to go into a newer song. Okay. Not like a newer song where that the old people won't like, a newer song that everybody would like a Bruno Mars type shit, right? Like, newer, but not super crusty. Same thing, opposite. You start with like Jump Around or something like that, and you get like all the bridesmaids, groomsmen, all the young people, they're bopping, they're having a great time, but there's not a lot of old people out there when I just started that dance floor. Then I'm going to make a little plan to kind of like get into Staying Alive or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to get into something a little older, December 1963, 4, I fucking forget. But you know what I mean? Like I'm going to play an older song, that everyone will like, to get a little older people out there, and then now I'm moving. And that's how you can really fill the dance floor, right? You get the initial shock wave of people, and then like you get the fillers. That's how you gain more people, because obviously the first song you played, if they didn't come out, they didn't like that song, right? That wasn't their song. They might have stayed on the dance floor and danced to it if they were already dancing, but it's not a song that would make them come out to a dance floor. So you want to look at the crowd, analyze the crowd, figure out what you're missing in this crowd, who is sitting down still after you open up the dance floor cold, and then transition into that stuff to fill it more and get more people, and then build that way. And then you're off, and then you're good to go. Okay, that's my advice. Highly recommend. Do this at least once every single wedding. It will come in handy. It will be a different way to do things. It will work, and and it'll help your confidence and your ego as well. Okay, don't be scared. Don't be hiding behind your facade. Okay, worried about people dancing and all that shit. But that's it, people. It's 1:11. I'm gonna wrap shit up. I'm gonna save some stuff for next week. I had a lot of stuff this week. Holy shit. Appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you so much. I'm streaming on Twitch tonight at 8:30. I'm going on an hour early, for the fuck of it. So if you want to join me, feel free, twitch.tv/Nick Spinelli. Like this video if you haven't already. Comment, subscribe if you don't subscribe. Appreciate all of you for being here. I love you all. And yeah, I shall see you guys next week, same time, noon, every motherfucking Tuesday. Peace. Have a great week.